This educational program was designed specifically for the use of the STEER student athletes and is copyrighted material of the peak mental game optimal performance education. The distribution or reproduction outside of the STEER student athletes membership is not authorized. Welcome to the STEER for Student Athletes seminar number 2. This one is going to talk to you about character development. As we discussed during our previous meeting, during the first seminar, you are going to watch this video on your own. You will take some notes and write down some questions that you might have. And then during my next visit, we are going to do one-on-one sessions specifically talking about your character, the areas of your character that you want to improve on, so we can develop strategies to help you one-on-one. Remember that in the book that I provided you, there is specific information that I will cover here in a minute. But remember, the primary mission of the pre-mental game is to provide you with some set of skills and mental toughness that will impact your approach to your game, to academics, and to professional life. So everything we covered in these classes can help you in all levels of your preparation and all levels of your execution and performance. In your manual, the one that I gave to you during the first unit, or you received from your coordinator if you were not during the first meeting, there's a page that looks like this. It says online seminar number 1, character counts for high school student athletes. Again, this is specifically designed for you in the STEER program, but in this page, you are to take notes about the things that we talk about in this seminar, and then write any questions that you might have as the information is presented that you want to then ask me when we're doing our one-on-one session later this month. So again, use this page, use this book. Remember, I am going to collect all the books after my first visit so I can have and evaluate the information that you've been providing and the assessments that you have been doing. Just to remind you, this is supposed to be happening every day. Every day you're supposed to be doing the 3-2-1 process. You analyze and identify the 3 things that went well, 2 things that did not go as well, but you plan to improve on, and what's the plan to improve on, and then 1 thing that you learned that day. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't have to be sport related. It can be school, can be for a friend, something you learn. And then identify in a brief statement what is your primary objective for the next day. And lastly, the bottom part of this was not mandatory, if you remember, but if something happened in your performance that you would like me to answer some questions or do some research with you about your performance, you can write a question there so I can then find a way to help you one-on-one. So again, these assessments you're supposed to be doing every day, all the way until we meet on the 22nd or the 23rd to be able to connect, and I will collect them and bring them with me to sunny Florida. So let's get started with our seminar number 2 about elements of character. Again, as we had mentioned before, and the general approach that we use in the peak mental game approach and the one that you are using through the STEER program to develop your mental skills have these 4 legs of the table. So where does the character piece fit in this area, in this model? And it fits in the mental aspect as well, because when it comes to character, we had to think about the decisions we're going to make. We had to battle in our minds through the challenges and through all the different possibilities from the results associated with those challenges. I have not met a single person yet that just does things without thinking. There might be 1 or 2 out there, but I haven't met any. They always think through, and they know I'm about to do this. This might not be a good thing, but I'm going to do it anyway. Or this might be a great thing, I'm going to try it. So it comes tied up, the character piece and the character development and education comes tied up with the mental aspect of this. Now, can you apply your character to training and to your nutrition selection and to your recovery? Of course, because our character is our set of values, the things that are going to drive our decision making, and that impacts everything we do within our lives. So again, let's define what character is so we can begin with that, with something solid that we can all work off as a basic foundation. Here in this quote by John Hayes Hammond, says very clearly, character is the real foundation for all worthwhile success. Without character, our decision making becomes flawed. If we don't have a good set of values, if we don't allow those values to help us make our decisions, then we find ourselves in a trap. And we'll talk about some of those things in general. But character is that set of values, whether it's mental and moral qualities that drive decision making and behavior. It is what we do when no one's looking. Are we willing to do the right thing, even if we know the coach is not paying attention? Even if we know that, nobody's friend or my mom is not following me and my dad is not paying attention, can we do the right thing at all times? This is connected to every decision we make and how these decisions impact our lives and our future. Again, every decision has repercussions, regardless of what it is. So if we don't have a way to run it through a filter, some sort of a set of values or moral qualities that we want to use to be different, to be independent, to do the right thing, then we are going to challenge and we're going to pay. We're going to pay for those decisions. Okay, sports provide the opportunity to reveal our true character and helps us identify in what we need to improve and what we are doing well. What I mean by this is you're going to be in situations of pressure. And you're going to feel within, man, I really would like to get back at this guy who's really doing, or this gal who's doing things at me, as we've seen in sports today. But do we have the composure to be able to keep ourselves down? Do we know that we did something we're not supposed to? And can we find a way to maintain that balance and control ourselves for the next time around? That is improving. Now, I deal very well, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking in general. As an individual, I deal very well with pressure, and that is good. And I want to maintain that, and I want to sustain it. So we identify through sport the things that we need to improve and the ones that we want to sustain. Lastly, for student athletes, it's very, very important for you to identify yourself with your values and your character and match those with the student athlete organization. You know that you've been selected for this program. This program is different. It's trying to set athletes for success in all avenues, help you through sport to get to your goals and objectives to become an individual that's going to contribute to society down the road. That's what we want. Now, because of that, and everybody else that sees you with your Steer shirt or knows that you're a Steer athlete, they're looking up to you to see how do you behave, how do you lead, how do you make decisions. So it is extremely important as a Steer student athlete to know that you are an ambassador of what good character in sports should look like. And it's a lot of pressure for a young individual. And today we're going to talk about some ways to deal with some of the challenges that you have available that come to you as being an ambassador to this program and being an ambassador to yourself, to your family, to your sport. So again, it is important. That's what we're talking about it. That's what we want to ensure that we build this foundation for you. So as you move forward, you can bring it with you to every aspect of your life and everything you do. So again, what do we have to learn about character? To me, it goes down to one basic concept. Athletes who only focus in sports skill development and neglect character education and improvement end up having trouble. I got 3 examples in here of athletes, former athletes, who had tremendous physical talent. O.J. Simpson, one of the best football players in the history of the game, when it came to that. And then later in his career, got into multiple troubles associated with his character. When he could no longer play, his composure, not being able to control it, led him to, commit some acts and murder. You can find out exactly what he did if you want. Okay, the same thing with Oscar Pistorius on the bottom. An elite level Paralympic athlete who is admired because
he is missing a leg and still competes at the highest levels and runs and still competes as the regular in the regular Olympics against individuals that had no defects. We can say that he had a tremendous character to go through, but then when it came time to make proper decisions, that wasn't the right way because his character did not transfer to everything else we did. Everybody knows about the soccer player here pulling the hair of her opponent. Unexpected pull of the hair just to control. Again, it's a lack of composure, but it reflects the character that you have within. So if we don't learn to develop our character along with our sport, then we are not going to be able to be individuals to contribute to society when we no longer can play sports. So we got to maintain that balance, and that is what is important. Okay. Again, this contributes to your decision early in your career. It allows you to self-assess and make adjustments during critical times. The more you learn, the easier it is for you to identify which areas you need to improve on so you don't get in trouble. And I only have 3 examples in here, but we can come up with 20,000 of them. If we want to go look in depth into people who did very well in sports but did not transfer into character, then we're going to find them all 4 days. But that's not the focus on this presentation. I just wanted to point out to you that, yes, this can be trained, this can be developed, and we are giving you the opportunity to develop yours now in the STEER program. Again, peer pressure is one of the challenges you're going to have, and we're going to talk about in detail when it comes to that. You're going to have it every day, and you need to have tools to win those battles. Character, like mental skills, will transfer across all levels of performance in sport, academic, and future professional careers. I know athletes who were very good in their sport and cheated in their academic environment, got kicked out of college, couldn't complete, couldn't play, couldn't complete their education because they were caught in sport. Okay? Then in your professional career, it's the same. There's a lot of professional CEOs and things like that, chief operating officers or different organizations and banks who have been in trouble because they play that line of what right is and what's not right. And then that is a lack of character. So at the end of the day, like mental skills, this character development will follow you for the rest of your life. Take advantage of it or trying to find a way to ask the right questions. How can I improve here? How can I set myself up for success? Here are the different areas that will contribute to your character, that will help us develop the character: perseverance, respect, honesty, self-control, kindness, dependability. And the way that you're going to see all these 6 traits embedded, you're going to see it embedded in the program that we're going to use for you and the way that I'm going to present it. There's 4 ways for student athlete development that I want you to be able to see the sport and the regular academics application of it. Number 1 is sportsmanship and fair play. Okay, in there you see respect, you see honesty, you see kindness, and mental toughness, perseverance, and winning spirit. Obviously, you see perseverance, you see self-control, you see dependability. Team player, unselfishness. Again, you see honesty, dependability, self-control, respect for others. All of this will be integrated in the 4 areas that we're going to be discussing. Coachability, positive attitude, and teachable spirit. When we stop learning, when we no longer want to learn, our chances to develop as individuals die. We have to make sure that if we want to have good character, we have to be open to learn, and we have to be open to all environments. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video right now. And in your sheet, the one that I gave you on your book, write down these traits from your strongest one to the one that you would like to work on the most. Okay, so again, let's say that you consider yourself to be very, very strong in perseverance. That will be your first one on the top of your list. If you decide that the one that you would like to work on the most is honesty, then put that one last at number 6. Because we will discuss that when we get to our one-on-one sessions. Again, write them down, then resume the video. Welcome back. I hope that you did a pretty good assessment. We're going to talk about these 4 different areas that I mentioned on the previous slide before you took the short break to self-assess. We're going to talk about sportsmanship and fair play. We're talking about
the teamwork. We're going to talk about the mental toughness. We're going to talk about the other aspects that are critical for us to be able to be good athletes and demonstrate character not only in sport but also in academics. All the pictures that you hear depicts some sort of fair play and sportsmanship. When you have teammates from opposite teams helping each other in the game, or going out of the way to ensure that they congratulate each other after the game is completed. Again, you'll see changes depending on different levels of how this works, but there are other things that go within the sportsmanship fair play. So playing within the rules is the first element. Never cheat to gain an unfair advantage. Show respect for the referees and their opponents. Congratulate your opponents following their victory or defeat. Win and lose with dignity. Maintain self-control in response to any physical or verbal harassment. Again, when we talk about sportsmanship and fair play, not everyone is built the same. If you have played travel sports, you know the parents are and coaches from the other teams, people who don't know you, not from your community. Nothing can follow back home. What they say, they will say some disrespectful things, and will try to get into players' heads. So something that is not going to go away, because there's always going to be some individuals that will try to push the limits when it comes to try to get you out of your game. The more you can maintain your composure, the more you show that you have a higher level of character that they have. A lot of times, people learn that as long as I don't get caught, I can keep doing these little things. But if you know that what you're doing is not correct, then your sportsmanship and fair play is a gamble. You're gambling with your character. Know the rules, understand the rules, play within the boundaries on those rules. If you know that you're doing something wrong and you're doing it anyway, that's an area that needs improvement. If you know that something that you're about to do is not something that you were allowed to do, then you need to do a self-assessment and you need to find a way to change it, because that's a habit that never goes away. Try to cut the corners. People who try to cut corners will eventually come back and bite them. It will get them, because they will do it again and they will do it again. And the more and more they can do it without getting caught, the more they will do, until eventually they're dug themselves into a hole that they cannot work themselves out of. So again, sportsmanship for fair play. You need to assess yourself on where you are on this. You need to find out where you are and what kind of adjustments you need to make to be able to meet this criteria that is listed on the slide. Okay. So if you have any questions, feel free to always write them down, or you can email me directly to the email that I send you this link on. It's important for you to have open conversation with me about the things that you hear in these presentations. The next area is mental toughness, persevering, and winner spirit. Okay, now this right here is not Oscar Pistorius. He looks like that. He has a very similar injury. This is a different athlete who has shown mental toughness and perseverance. The same thing with the bicycle athlete, extreme athlete going all the way to the top of the mountain. The Navy SEALs on the bottom getting wet and sandy, and allowing that water to come in there constantly all the time without quitting, without having their spirits broken. So in here, you got to stay fully committed to the team's mission and program. Okay, not only your team, but yourself, your family, your program. All of them are riding on you in terms of your character. Okay, they are all extremely proud about every step you take. When you take a step back, when you fall, they fall with you. When you take a step back, they take a step with you. They feel your pain. Your teammates, your parents, all the members of this program that are trying to develop you. Okay, so it's important for you to remember that with every decision you make, you're impacting their lives as well. Individual with mental toughness and perseverance never quits. Constantly on top, like a drop on a rock, eventually will make a hole. You gotta stay constantly fighting. Okay, you start and finish all endeavors with positive energy and enthusiasm. Today it's difficult for athletes to do that. We talk ourselves into negative thinking when things are not going well, and we lose our positive energy and our enthusiasm, knowing that we can finish this well if we just maintain that attitude. Never make excuses. You can we can always find a way to justify when something did not go right. Let's just take ownership of it, write it down as one of the things that we did not do as well today, and what and a plan to make it better tomorrow. But once we allow ourselves to make an excuse, then it becomes another character habit that then for the rest of our lives we'll try to continue to push through. Okay, does not allow frustration to undermine their confidence and concentration. Again, key elements here are the mental approach. Your confidence and concentration are sacred things, are things that you don't want them to be disturbed. So if you allow your frustration to get the best of you, take you away from your confidence and your concentration, then we're going to have some challenges. So if this is one of the areas that you need developing, write it down, ask questions. Let's try to find ways to improve it. Okay. Individuals with mental toughness, perseverance, and winning spirit demonstrate character by refusing to allow their spirit to be broken. That means that we recognize that sometimes things are not going to go well. That is life. But we're going to embrace it and we're going to drive through it anyway. That is what we want. We want to become individuals that can be dependable and they're not going to break when it comes time when they are needed most. So again, think about these things that I just mentioned. Analyze yourself, see where you are, identify where can you work on this and continue to improve. The next area is the team player and unselfishness. Again, teams are critical. Many of you are in team sports. Some of you do track and field, but some of you do team sports, and you, as a student athlete, are looked up upon for your leadership. They want you to be able to help and assist. If your motivation's down, if your spirit is down, then your team spirit will be down. They're looking up to you. And there's a lot of pressure, again, as a young athlete, to say, man, why do I have to have this responsibility? But it happens naturally when you're a good player. People are always looking for a leader. And those with good character tend to come to the top when it comes to that decision making. So for team player, no selfishness, we got to focus on places the team goals ahead of the personal goals and individual statistics. We got to ensure that we have made commitment to something bigger than ourselves. Willing to play any role in order to make the team better. Shows respect for teammates on and off the playing field, and is not jealous of the success of the team members, of the other team members. They help each other move on and move forward, and then takes on additional responsibilities to achieve team goals. Which again, if you are needed, if the team needs you to pick up the slack with something, then you do that. It demonstrates that you have a level of character that you put yourself secondary to the needs of your teammates and the needs of your team. It is not doing anything that is illegal or not authorized. Talking about the things that are required to ensure that we get everyone on board. Lastly, the team player and the individual that's unselfish exemplifies team pride both on and off the playing field. So at times, athletes, when they take off their uniform, they think that now they have an independent life. I'm not playing sports anymore. I can do whatever I want. That same mentality gets individuals in trouble. When you choose to be a collegiate level athlete, when you choose to be a high school elite level athlete, eyes are on you. That is the way our society is built. So whether they're looking or not, we're always looking to do the right thing. And if we do that, then we're comfortable and we don't have any issues. Coachability, positive attitude, and teachable spirit. Individuals with character understand that they can learn from each other, that they can learn from their coaches, and they can have, they gotta have that open mindedness that would allow them to get better at every step. Okay, so again, individuals that are coachable, they have a positive attitude and a teachable spirit. They display a positive and optimistic attitude every day. They show respect to their coaches and listens intently to their instructions. They're eager to learn. They accept corrections constructively. And I know that's a big word, but what we're talking about here is not to be defensive when somebody's trying to make corrections.
At all levels, corrections are made. I normally play, I right now work with professional athletes, and at this level, they get corrections from their coaches. So everyone gets corrections. So you gotta have an open mind. And this is what I had that white belt here. The white belt mentality is what allows you to be open minded all the time. Just thinking about the martial arts environment with you coming as a white belt, you coming in really and willing to learn. Whatever the other members of that club want to share with you, you want to learn it. That's the mentality we got to have in order to be able to continue to grow and move forward. Okay, there are some challenges to our character development, especially at your age level. As I mentioned, we know there is a big responsibility to try to carry ourselves the right way, and we need to find a way to kind of battle some of these challenges. The first one is peer pressure. Some of you already have spoken with me about this. That you want to go practice and you know you need to go practice, and your friends that are no longer playing the sport are trying to pull you in a different direction. Um, and that is a difficult decision to make because you want to spend time with your friends. You love your friends. But down the road, this 1 hour and a half that you have committed to your physical development, what's going to contribute most to the way that you need to go? So understanding what are some of the things that can get you out of your character, what you want to build for yourself, is important. Okay, all habits and expectations is another area that can be a challenge. If it's something that everyone has done, that's the way my father did it. That's the way my brother does it. A lot of times, those become habits for us, and we say, are they wrong? Are they doing it wrong? And the answer to that question is maybe, maybe not. But you got to understand and assess. Do the way that I used to do it fits within my values and my character? If the way that I used to do it, or the way that my parent does it, and the way that my mom does it, and that my brother does it, doesn't fit my character, then it is time for a change. So those old habits that they no longer fit your new character, the one that you want to, the one that you want to move forward, the one that is going to help you succeed in college, in your profession, in your sport, needs to take precedence on the things that we are comfortable with and the things that we used to do. Social media is the biggest challenge, one of the biggest challenges that high school and even college level athletes have today. Okay, we had incidents now where people are going to get hired from a company, and the company does a media search, and they identify pictures and comments that were made that go into the consideration process for the hiring. It's important for us to know that when every time that we put something online, it's going to impact and reflect who we are. It's going to reflect who we are, and it's going to reflect our character. So ask yourself the following question before you post any comment to social media or any pictures to social media. If I'm on the other end of this photo, why, how, or what will I perceive about this individual? What kind of things can be perceived from the photo and the comment that you're about to make? Having character means that at times, what we think is funny at the moment will catch up to us a year down the road or 2 years down the road, because once it's posted, it's there forever. And it's very, very hard to get rid of. So when you're interacting in social media, remember, I'm still a student athlete. I'm an athlete who wants to have a future, and everything I do has the potential to impact. So you have to look at things through that mirror. Okay, lack of composure challenges our character. If we understand that we don't have the emotional control required to calm ourselves down during difficult situations, okay, because when we're fired up, that's when we tend to make the most mistakes. Think back about all these three individuals that I show you during the initial picture about character. The two athletes who ended up taking somebody else's life. The athlete pulling the other person's hair, the other athlete's hair. All of them happen in moments of rage, in moments of anger.
And moments that if they decided to, I am fired up, I can't do this right now, and take a walk rather than have that conversation, the result would have been completely different. So if you have a short fuse for certain things, then recognize that and find a way to develop strategies. Or better yet, use the resources available to you, your steer coordinators, your mental skills coach, and say, Dr. M, you know what? I've been getting very upset about this and about that. How can I fix that? How can I find ways to maintain that balance and not lose my composure? We'll continue to talk about that during the next seminar, but it's important for you to understand that our character gets blurred and our decision making gets blurred when we have a lack of composure. If we don't have a filter, and a filter comes with experience, a filter comes with maturity. But the bottom line here is that some of the questions that I put on your mind should be your filter. So the filter is what something that you run your thinking and your actions through before you actually do them. Okay, we no longer just react to things. Situation happens, we got to take a second or two to pause and think through our responses. And we got to look at it from the filter of I am a steer student athlete. I'm a steer student athlete. How should I react to this? I want to be an elite level athlete. How should I react to this? And then find a way to maintain that response at a manageable level for you rather than just act out and then think about it after it's done. Oh man, it's already done. I can't do anything about it now. It's hard to change. Okay. So, rush decision making, which is the last little figure here on the bottom. Okay. The little cartoon depicts somebody thinking about their decision. So, obviously, it's not a rush decision. The decision is just running through that light without thinking through it. So I'm just going to go this way. I'm not going to think through it. I don't need to think. So when we rush and we don't take the time to calm ourselves down, the composure piece, and then look at things through the filter, then we make decisions that end up getting us in trouble. So again, these are your challenges at your age, in your age group. Identify them, learn how to have a strategy to battle them when they come up, and then find a way to identify what your values are and how you're going to defend them. Okay. The bottom line is, there's certain things that we need to say that are off limits for us as student athletes or as good individuals contribute that want to contribute to society. There are certain things that I'm just not going to do. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Okay. It says in here, what I would not do for my friends. Okay, and this is something that I read many years ago, and it stuck with me to the point that when I was doing this presentation, I decided to bring it up for your own benefit. So first, I won't steal for my friends. I won't cheat for my friends. I will not act dumb for my friends. I won't disrupt class or practice for my friends. I won't disrespect, laugh at, or ridicule others for my friends. I won't intentionally fail for my friends. I won't destroy my life or anyone else's for my friends. Again, those are very simple rules right here. So what I'm about to do, can it destroy my life? And if the answer to that question is yes, then I'm not doing it. And anyone who asks me to do any of these things, then is not my friend. If they're pulling me in a direction that is comfortable to them, away from my path, then they're not my friend. They don't want what's the best interest of me. They don't. If they can respect my decisions, they don't want what's in my best interest. At times, this is a very tough decision to make. This is a very tough decision to make when it comes to ensuring that our friends know that now we're moving in a different direction. This is the path that I want to follow. And you want to bring them along with you. You can influence it and say, hey, I want to do the right thing. This is what the right thing looks like for me. You can come on board or you can keep doing your own thing, and I'll respect you for it. However, set your standards, set your values, because that's what's going to reflect as your character down the road. Again, this is very important for your development, not only as a steer student athlete, but then as a collegiate athlete that you want to be, as a professional that you want to be down the road. If you have any questions about anything that we have covered during this presentation, feel free to email me directly at peakmentalgame@gmail.com or write down your questions so when we do one-on-one on the 22nd or the 23rd of this month, we can address all your concerns and your areas that you would like to improve on. I'm also looking forward to hear the things that you already think you're strong on, so we can continue to develop that and set you for success in your path for the future.